Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hi, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today, we're discussing Farscape, Season 4, Episode 4. Lava's a many splendored thing. The crew stumble into a booby-trapped lava cave full of bad guys. How did you find this episode?
Okay, I like this episode a lot. Even though it doesn't serve the greater story of the show, it's just, hey, let's end up in this place and then deal with this thing, and then that's it. Even though it has that limitation, I guess, it's really good. I don't think you need to be in service of the larger story to be a good episode, but I really like this one.
It's certainly fun, especially towards the end. It's definitely a fluff episode. You can tell pretty quick that it's going to amount to not much.
It's fluff, I'll give you that, certainly. But it feels very Farscape-y, which was sorely lacking from the previous two. So it was comforting to see, okay, they know the little details that make me happy to watch this show.
I've seen this episode a few times now, because this is my third, fourth time watching the show. I feel it, certainly the first half drags a little from rewatching. But when they get the energy shields, they're shooting each other and John's shooting his pinky and stuff and testing it in the lava.
I love all of that.
It's so good. And he's walking around in the lava, shooting himself.
I knew he was going to end up shouting at someone to shoot him, and it happened, but it was still really funny. So there was that, which was very comical, and what I like at a Farscape. And then similarly, the vomit on the hands to solve the DNA problem. That was really funny.
Was that a bit overly toilet humorish?
It wasn't for me. It was the right amount of toilet humor.
I'm glad they didn't labor over it too much. They talked about it a bunch, but they didn't like show you them smearing vomit all over their hands.
Although Chiana eats a glob.
Yeah,
could have done without that.
She always tastes things. That's a running thing with her, but that was kind of they went to the limit there, I think.
There was a lot of granny bashing in this, which I was a fan of.
I don't know if this episode was trying to sort of flesh out Naranti's character, but it was kind of like she was just suggesting weird stuff and they were discussing if that would get her killed. Which is quite entertaining.
There were a lot of lines about harming her or harm coming to her.
John and Dargo are now complacently discussing. So, for example, with Jewel, they kind of were a bit passive about when she might be in danger. But here they're just outright discussing, like, well, we should let her, she might get killed. That would be a good thing.
They've evolved. They now know how to show outright hostility.
I think Dargo also suggested that they should burn her.
He did. And then it was either him or John that said burning is too good for her. I think it was John.
You pegged her really early on when you said she's a crazy old lady who occasionally says wise statements.
Still holding true.
Yeah, it's still accurate.
She didn't fit the wise old person profile. Still doesn't.
Still, yeah. Not sure where they're going with her character.
I guess she has the power to present as another being? That was strange.
That's more of her chemical stuff. Drugs, you could call them.
Did she administer drugs to those guys, though? I don't remember.
Yeah, she throws stuff in the air. She's throwing it around, and she says to John, "Go over there, but don't inhale."
Oh, okay. So it was explicit and I missed it.
Weirdly, this is the same plot point that came up in the episode Scratch and Sniff, where Dargo had a scent thing that made him appear different.
Oh, yeah.
But that one was way more wide-ranging. It wasn't just like they drugged a couple of guys and made them sort of hallucinate. So I guess John was telling the truth. There was a little appearance by Harvey.
Oh, yeah, with the protective suit on.
They pointed out that Rigel is amphibious.
John said that, but he could be wrong.
He's not wrong, though. Rigel is amphibious. This was mentioned in like episode 3.
Never mind.
They have not mentioned it in a long time, though, so it's good that they mention it because it's a weird trait. And yeah, otherwise you would never believe that he would last that long without oxygen.
I did think of that too.
Because he's not rushing or anything. If that was a person, you'd have to go very, very quickly to get them out.
Yeah, you couldn't contemplate whether you should shoot your pinky. Or I guess dip your pinky in lava. That was the problem.
So wait, if they shot themselves and used the energy shield,
Yes.
and then someone hit them with a rock, it would defend them.
Yes.
It just can only trigger on energy weapons.
That's how I understood it.
And they shut down after 5 to 10 seconds for power saving.
Around that, yes.
Or depending on, because when he was in the lava, it was lasting a bit longer because I think it was doing its thing. So shouldn't you just get a better sort of battery and turn it on all the time? And then you'd be invincible.
It's really expensive energy-wise. And then it's less mobile.
Oh, maybe you couldn't do things like open doors because you can't impart force upon other objects. They are flying through the uncharted territories in Dargo's ship.
It's a good ship, why not?
It's a lovely little ship, but it's like a car.
Okay.
Does it have bathrooms? Like it's just one little room.
Yeah. That's why they had to stop on the planet, so they could retch in peace.
Yeah. Did they have to fly from one solar system to another before they could take a bathroom break?
You have to be really good at holding it. That's part of space training.
That's probably true.
This whole episode started because Rigel needed to relieve himself.
Well, because they were hungry. This episode did have a lot of Rigel farting helium.
A lot of it. And I'm surprised it didn't annoy me. There was a lot of toilet humor in this one. And in general, I don't like that. But this episode was so absurd in a lot of ways that I think I was fine with it.
I think the whole lava theme saved this episode. Because it was just kind of overblown and ridiculous, but in a pretty awesome way.
I think you're right. The ridiculousness saved it.
It's over the top. The sort of Die Hard situation, but with lava everywhere and booby traps that freeze people in resin.
It's not trying to be subtle in any way, which I'm fine with. It's a one-off.
I think if it had been a more run-of-the-mill episode with a more kind of gritty motif rather than this kind of action comedy style, then yeah, a lot of the bizarre toilet stuff would have not hit the mark.
I would be ranting right now about how awful it is.
Well, good job, those guys, for pitching it correctly. But what did you think about Naranti stripping naked and then them going, "Oh no"?
I didn't care for that. I don't like body shaming stuff.
Yeah, I felt that was one that was a bit of a low blow. It's not shown on camera, but they added huge amounts of hair to her armpit.
Oh.
Which was supposed to be what they were reacting to. But the way it's shot, it just seems like they're reacting to her, generally.
Yeah, and that's too bad because I think I would be better with a reaction to hair because hair can trap odor and maybe they're reacting to that. And John has remarked how she stinks and needs to bathe.
I still think it's probably not wonderful, but yeah, that would certainly be a far milder joke.
It's not as harsh.
Yeah, especially with like a massive sea urchin of hair. Like, what the hell's going on?
Another thing I didn't like, this is more nitpicky. John was aware of the melting tool, and I didn't know how. The one time it's used before that, he wasn't around.
Didn't he see them melting Rigel down at the start?
I don't think he was around for that. Maybe he was. I definitely could be mistaken, but I think he wasn't around.
Oh, let us know in the emails and the comments. He was hiding around the corner. No, I can't remember the sequence of events now. Did they cut him down first and then John tried to bargain?
He gets melted later because I think I'm getting it mixed up too.
Maybe it says on it. It says resin melting device.
Okay.
I mean, we always come up with explanations for how to fix potential plot holes and stuff. Would it really be that bad if a tool was labeled?
Yes. Have you ever seen a hammer that says hammer on it?
Yeah, but that's a hammer.
Yeah, and that's a melting gizmo.
Yeah, it's a little more complicated than a hammer.
It's like a sequel to a hammer. It's not that far removed.
Yeah, I'm thinking now like printers and microwaves and stuff often don't say what they are. And they might have a serial number or a brand or something, but they don't. Like a printer rarely would just say printer on it. At the end, they left, and they took some energy shields with them, and they heard from Moya.
Moya left them, or Pilot left them a voicemail. That's a neat feature for a ship.
We have that now. You'd expect them to have that in space.
But a ship? I don't know. I don't know why a ship wouldn't have it. I'm getting stuck on that. My car doesn't have voicemail, but we have voicemail in general.
If you have a phone in your car that has voicemail, I guess they found Moya, although they said Moya was not far away.
Is that surprising?
I don't know. Well, I'm not surprised by this, because I've seen it before.
They had to find Moya eventually. It was only a matter of time. There's no way that wasn't going to happen.
With the season 4 plotline.
The search for Moya. So when they eat that stuff that Granny offers them,
The Grelnik.
she vomited that up, right?
She was doing something with something in her mouth, yeah, that came out of her mouth that somehow went into the Grelnik.
Okay, because we see her vomit, in her hand.
I don't know if she's specifically vomiting.
Okay.
Like,
still.
She might have just been chewing something up and spitting it out.
Pre-digesting.
Yeah, it didn't look great, though.
And they readily took it from her.
None of them were watching. They didn't see what she was doing. They all said it smelled okay.
They said it tasted great.
It's quite surprising. It doesn't seem like it would.
No, it doesn't.
When Rigel got captured, they put him in this lift thing, like a sort of dumb waiter sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then the whole real point of that was later on someone would be beheaded in the lift.
Yep. Dargo decapitates a guy.
Which is a nice setup, but I thought it was quite clever, because normally that would be the setup and the payoff, but then there's an additional payoff when the head comes out the bottom. John screams, "Whoa, is that a head?" That caught me off guard. Even though I've seen the episode before, that really made me laugh.
There's a lot to laugh at in this episode, which saves it from being terrible. This could have been a terrible episode.
It's weird. It's weird how some very small adjustments can change something between terrible and quite passably entertaining.
I think if you described this episode to me beforehand in very general terms, it would sound pretty bad. There's a lot of granny, there's a lot of toilet humor, and it's a one-off, and not much happens.
I guess, yeah, those are all fairly negative things. So they wrapped it up pretty well. I mean, this show, like the entire first season, was mostly one-offs, and some of them were pretty okay. A lot of season 2 was one-offs as well.
The show doesn't rely on continuity, but a lot of the really standout episodes are part of multi-parters.
Oh, for sure. It doesn't rely on continuity, but when it does use continuity, it's way better. To the point where now it's like, oh, this episode was just like a one-shot. I'm expecting it to be bad then.
Yeah, they set up that expectation now.
We're just we're just chomping at the bit for some continuous storyline, like in season 3. Which makes sense. We've seen what they can do with a little bit of continuity. Obviously, a viewer would want that again, I guess. Do you have a quote from this episode?
How come everything tastes like chicken?
Why did you pick this quote?
Because you mentioned the one I actually wanted to pick.
Oh, what, the head one?
No.
Okay.
I think we should burn her. You burn your old folks? No, it just sounded like a good idea.
Okay.
That was really funny. I didn't see that coming.
It's a weird assumption that, because he's like, I think we should, first of all, I think we should burn her. What?
That alone, without anything else, is really funny.
And then Grant assumes that that's just the standard Luxon practice. Oh, look how old you are. Time to burn. But why does everything taste like chicken?
I don't know. You hear that so often about exotic meats or whatever. And so I like that it even applies to space.
I don't think it's true, though.
It's not, but you hear it a lot.
I think that's just people have a propensity to eat really weird things, and those kind of people probably can't tell the difference between things they're eating, otherwise they wouldn't eat really weird stuff. They say things like, hey, I ate scorpions. Taste like crunchy chicken. And it's like, did they though? I mean, you thought eating scorpions would just be great fun, so I don't know if I can trust your judgment.
Probably not. You know whose judgment we can trust?
John's? Our own?
Our own.
Pilots.
Sure. I was gonna say, actually, I didn't have anywhere I was going with that, but after you said our own, I thought
Yeah,
maybe we
you're
can
you're
trust
leading
ourselves.
into the next episode thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we should watch next episode.
good idea.
Let's do it.
Bye.